Good afternoon. Welcome to part 5 in our Launch Your Book Your Way series. Today we're going to be jumping into how to avoid comparison and competition and instead embrace collaboration. This might be one of my most favorite topics upon which to speak as somebody who trains people in the writing, in the speaking, in the marketing world. For those of us who not only want to speak our message with excellence, but also care about the bigger picture, that when we share our message with others, all of us are sharing messages that God has planted in our hearts. And so we have to value the things that He values. And part of that is that we value the people He brings along the way. We were not meant to do this life alone, and we were not meant to do this writing journey alone. We are indeed better together. So let's talk about step number 1 on how to really make sure that we collaborate and depend upon one another as we move forward in our marketing journey, as we move forward in our writing journey, as we move forward in our personal journey as well. So step number 1, and I again bless my technical lack of prowess. We will start with step number 1 and the slide number 1, small miracles, here today on the BMA YouTube channel. Step number 1, expose the myth of competition. I can pretty much guarantee anybody who is watching this and anybody who will watch this, the moment you walk into the author world, you feel the pressure to get a book published, the pressure to meet the right people, the pressure to go to the right conference. But the reality is, all of us, and I think even those of us who are in the Christian writing community, we can get sidetracked by this idea that this journey is a competition and not an opportunity to join together for the purpose of moving in obedience to a calling that God has placed on our collective lives. So we have to really make sure that we're ready to dispel the myth of competition. And here are 3 truths to remember as you do this. Number 1, the market is ginormous. Your buyer is not just going to buy one book about the subject matter that maybe yours lends to. So don't ever feel like if somebody has the same topic that you do, that all is lost. All is not lost. In fact, what it offers for you when you realize how big the market is, how many people are out there, it gives you a sense of confidence that your message is one that is important and is not in any way negated by somebody writing about the same topic. The other thing that I think I would encourage you with is this. If we believe God uniquely equipped and called us to a place and time to write, then we have to believe that there is a receiver. There is somebody who is going to benefit through the story that only God can tell through you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so the call that He has placed on you already has the buyer, the reader, the market open. And we don't really need to worry that just because somebody else has written a book about a subject matter, that there is no market. Let me take another little drink. Again, I am so sorry that I am always so parched when I teach, but I suppose I am human after all. The other thing that I would like you to remember is this: success is not a zero-sum game. If somebody gets that book contract, if somebody reaches 1 million people with their message, that doesn't mean that we lose out. What that simply means is that there is opportunity beyond what our finite minds can muster. We have to trust God with the message that He has given us. We have to remember to keep our eyes forward and not to the right and to the left, because our journeys are as unique and individual as we are creation of God, who said, you know what? There's only one Sarah. There's only one Carol. There's only one Athena. And when we bring a spirit that says a door can open for Athena, a door can open for Sarah, a door can open for Carol, that gives us this moment to take a breath and pause and say, just because somebody else succeeds doesn't mean I fail. We all can succeed as long as we keep our eyes on the one who calls us. So again, remember that the market is vast. Remember that this is not a zero-sum game. Somebody can succeed someplace and then you can succeed somewhere else. And the great news is we can cheer each other on in the middle of it. So again, things to remember, things that tie back to our heart and our spirit and the lens with which we look at marketing is just as important as the marketing knowledge itself. So the third and final truth to remember is the power of community. And not only the power of community, but the fact that God in Scripture talks about three, and I'm going to butcher this, and please forgive me, it's on your PDF. It's in Ecclesiastes. But a cord of three is not easily broken. God speaks to the idea that we are better together in all things. I want you to think of things like music, art, literature. We aren't in isolation, just this person who is on their own. We have Book Marketing Pro Academy demonstrates this beautifully. What is this all based on? It's based on coming together and knowing that even in marketing, even in launching a book, even in writing a book, we are better together than we are separately. So if you find out that somebody else is writing a book on your subject, instead of feeling deflated, be like, yes, one person that I already know I can connect with and start to collaborate on marketing ideas, launching ideas, serving your reader, serving your buyer. It is not a reason to be discouraged or disappointed. It is a reason to be celebrated. And it is a reason to collaborate, which is always a good thing. Right now, for those of you who are live, and even for those of you who are watching the replay, I want you to think back to your journey as a writer, whether you are just getting your feet wet, or maybe you've been in this community for a long time. Where do you feel the pressure of competition? Where does it feel the hardest? And what feels the most difficult to overcome? I know for me, when I start getting on social media, I have to be like, okay, this is not helpful if I'm looking at other people's social media accounts and going, oh, I sure wish. That's not what this is supposed to be about. So when I have a spirit, and quite frankly. Sometimes I get a really stinky attitude. And so I have to sit back and I have to check my heart and just say, okay, God, remind me of why I'm here. Remind me as to why you gave me the gift of community. Remind me of why this message is important. And when we remember, when we go back to the beginning, that is where collaboration can start. So that's step number one. We've just got to get rid of this language, this competition language. It is not a competition. It is an opportunity to collaborate. So step number two, embrace the benefits of collaboration. And I will say this a million times over. This has been my experience and my journey. There are so many benefits of just collaborating in general. Forget about marketing or launching a book. There's still very important benefits there as well. But it's just, we don't have lock, stock, and barrel of the gray matter. I know I have less gray matter than most people. And when we have other people's perspectives and vantage points, we are also given the benefit of what that affords our launch, of what that affords our marketing, of what that affords our writing journey. So the 5 rewards of collaboration, you can tell I was a teacher, and even this, again, more of a higher level spiritual lesson, I still need my bullet points. I just bless my heart. Hopefully for those of you who love the bullet points and the PDFs, this is speaking to you as well. And for the rest, thank you for your grace. All right. So the first benefit of author collaboration, specifically when we're talking about marketing and launching a book, and I've said this before, I said it last month in my training, shared audiences and exposure, when platform and followers and overwhelm can really reign and wreak havoc in our ability to gain traction as a marketer, as somebody who's getting ready to launch a book. We have to remember that when we collaborate with other people, we're taking our message, and it was limited before because it was just us. But the more people we share that message with and we invite to be part of the process, the more people we're getting in front of. So that shared audience and that exposure, particularly in an environment where platform is just a part of it. It may not be our most favorite part, but it is a part of it. And it requires that we recognize the benefit, and we can kind of flip that script and say, it's not about platform being a word that gives us a bad taste in our mouth. It is about reaching that next person, that next reader, with the message that God has given us. And that is always a blessing, to connect with other people and to have the gift and the trust it takes to be allowed to share their audience. That is huge. And so we must be willing to see that as a benefit and as something that we will not only explore, but turn back around and say thank you for, because it is a gift, hands down. The second reward of collaboration is learning and growth. Believe it or not, I don't know everything. I know this is a shock. Actually, it's not. The whole world, if they spend at least 5 minutes with me, know that I do not know everything. And when we get in a spirit of isolation, in a spirit of competition, particularly when it comes to our marketing and or launching our book, we limit our growth. We limit our learning, because we all have that one thing that we're good at. And even if we don't have one really great thing, but we have a whole bunch of different things that we are able to balance well, we have something of value to another person, to our community, so that when we come together and we collaborate, specifically when it comes to marketing and launching our book well, we see it as a learning experience. And I think that takes an important lens as well. In order to be able to see the benefit, we also have to understand the importance of learning, the importance of growth. And guess what? There'll be new things to learn from here until eternity. That journey doesn't stop. In this community, this is a plug, by the way, if you catch this and you are not part of BMA, this community shows this truth and this benefit over and over and over again. Anytime anybody says, oh, hey, I tried this, didn't go very well, or it went great. Here's what I did. Here's what I learned. That is just as important, if not more so, than those of us who train and teach, because you have more knowledge, you grow more, you learn more, the more teachers you have. So that is definitely a strength as well. The third strength, and I'm going to tattle on myself here. Okay, sometimes I am not the most motivated. And sometimes I have really, 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 really great intentions and then fall off the wagon promptly. I've had these in multiple areas. I am not ashamed to tell you which ones, but in the interest of time, I won't today. Just know that motivation and accountability is one of the biggest benefits of collaboration. And let me say this very, very, very clearly. We talked about timelines in relationship to book launches. Timelines when you are joining forces with other people as part of your launch experience, when you bring people into your launch and you set an expectation, a date, a time, etc., it's a lot harder to go like, I just don't feel like that today. And I will be honest with you, if I have somebody else in the fold that knows and expects that I'm doing X, Y, Z, man, that goes to the top of the priority list. So one of the biggest benefits is just that accountability, that responsibility. Again, why we're better together, because that is inherent in joining forces with other people. The fourth benefit, pooling your resources. Writing can be really isolating. And I know this to be true for a lot of people. When we are isolated, a lot of times we can allow the enemy to get in our head and say, well, so-and-so is writing a book like this. Why is your book important? Or so-and-so is doing that. Or I'm not good enough. I can't. Now, when we have resources that we feel can benefit other people, and I think I may have just jumped to number 5. Hold on. No, I'm back up pooling resources. Maybe I jumped to it. I'm not sure, you guys. I'm so sorry. But let's go back to pooling resources. We'll start there and then we'll see if I can pick it back up. Bless my soul. Pooling resources. Okay, here we go. So when we come together as collaborators during the launch process, and whether that is because we have a shared message or we have a shared audience, a shared buyer, when we bring our resources together, when we give of our resources, Yes, I think I did jump to point number 5, matters of fact, because yes, when you give, it will come back to you. And I think that might even be biblical. Is it Luke 6:38? Give and it will come back to you. Again, that idea that we're not in competition with somebody else, that we are meant to join forces in marketing, in launching a book, in writing a book. That is something where if we start there and we understand that nuance, we're going to be set up for success. We're not meant to hold tightly on to all the things we learn, all the things we know. We're meant to keep our hands open so that we can receive as well as give. Now, that I totally gave a spoiler, benefit number 5 is mental and emotional support. Y'all, as I said before, writing can be lonely. It can be isolating. It can be hard when we don't have people who understand the journey. And launching a book is probably one of the hardest parts of that writing journey. So as you create community, and creating community starts today, marketing starts today, you're always better off in all of these things if you start now. So make sure that when you approach your launch, you approach it in the same way many of you in this community already have approached so many pieces of the publication journey. This is not one to fall off the wagon. Continue to reach out, continue to lean into one another, continue to provide support, because in isolation, that's when the enemy gets the better of us. That's when, we can make a mistake on a live YouTube training and feel like the world has totally ended. It hasn't ended. I made a mistake. Grace covers all. And the reality is, I know this audience is grace-filled and kind and wants to see everyone succeed. Give yourself the grace of a collaborative experience in your launch, just as you do in any other step of the publication process. So that is step number 1, step number 2, and we're moving on to step number 3. Here's where you do the thing. Those of you watching are like, Sarah, you have waxed eloquent, and we love you terribly. But now what is it that you want us to do here? So what did I say just a few moments ago? The best time to start doing this is now. So whether you are launching a book tomorrow or you are launching a book a year from now, you need to start thinking about how you can get in the habit of collaboratively approaching your book's genre, your book's message, your book's buyer. Now is the time to start. You guys have already really honestly put in your toolkit one of the best things that you could have, and that's this group. But now is the time to start building that toolkit so that you can be well versed in the practice of collaborating. So 5 ways to move forward in this. The first one is to celebrate the successes of others. And I think this group in particular does that really well. I think the Christian community does that really well, the writing community. I think we can always do more. We can always do more. And for those of us who are really introverted and have a hard time with this whole marketing thing because it feels like it's tooting your horn every other word, every other post, and it feels scary, it's way easier to cheerlead for somebody else. So get in that habit. Practice that on social media. Practice it in this group. Practice it wherever you can in your writing journey so that when you get to launch time and there are other folks who are launching books, you don't have to just focus on you. You can focus a community you're already keyed into. And again, if you share, often they share. It is a symbiotic relationship, and it is one we can start from ground zero. The second way to move forward is to really adopt an abundance mentality. The very first conference I went to was Blue Ridge, which is an amazing conference. Highly recommend it. So good. But what I did not know about the whole conference thing was that you have these appointments that you sign up for to meet with agents, to meet with publishers. I was pretty green. Nobody could have prepared a woman walking with a cane who, well, even on a good day, is about as coordinated as a snail, for the rush of we're done with whatever session it is, introductory session it is that we have at the beginning of the conference, to the room where there's all the appointments and meetings with the agents and publishers and whomever, probably the faculty members, authors, speakers, all sorts of wonderful people to sign up for. And I just pretty much thought, well, I think I'm just going to be out of luck here because I can't run fast. I can't walk fast. I'm kind of a hot mess. So I guess I'll just get what I get, you know? But the reality is there shouldn't have ever been that thought in the first place because it wasn't a competition. It wasn't who gets there fastest to meet with said person. If we truly believe that God orders our steps, that he knows us so intimately, he knows the number of hair on our heads, do you think he would let my wonky left side and my inability to know what I was supposed to do prevent me meeting the people that I was meant to in my writing journey? And the answer is definitively no. I saw the competition piece and just figured, well, I'm going to lose. The reality is there was no competition. There was opportunity and there was sovereignty. And knowing that those can intersect in all situations is vitally important. So whether you are going to a conference or you are going to an event, go with the mindset that there is enough room for everybody who is there at the table. Always remember that. Always remember that. We cannot be so bent on the goal that we trample people in order to get there. And that is what separates us from those who maybe don't know Jesus quite yet. We are called to be loving. We are called to be kind. We are called to be Jesus with skin on. And pretty sure he wouldn't be knocking people over to get to an appointment. So now that my sermon on YouTube has concluded, we will go to the third way to move forward. Be open to sharing knowledge. Anytime you get an opportunity to speak to a group that is lesser experienced than you are, you may feel intimidated. You may be like, I feel completely ill-equipped for this. But at some point, somebody poured into you to get you where you are today. So get over it. And I know that's not very gentle, but I think it's an important thing to remember, because what happens when you share, other people start to share. And when you have that spirit of a collaboration, opportunity comes across your path that, again, may put you in a position to reach specific readers or buyers, or even just a specific target group that you wouldn't otherwise be in front of. Because again, you're sharing an idea with other writers. They may be younger in their journey, but they are also writers. They are people you can link arms with, whether it is the class and the people who are learning from you, or the people who have invited you to speak, or if it's a faculty position at a writers conference. There are a lot of people ahead of you in that writing journey, that marketing journey, that launch journey. And you're getting, again, it's that spirit of learning, it's that spirit of growing, and you can start that today. You can start that today by simply saying no to fear, being courageous when somebody asks you to do something that feels a little scary or uncertain. I didn't ever plan to be a writer, and I ended up with a stroke that kept me from communicating the way I am right now. I'm still wonky. I'm still not incredibly clear. I still sometimes forget the subpoints that I'm on. But the reality is this: I would not be here in front of you had I not said, you know what? I don't feel equipped. I'm not a writer. I wasn't trained as a writer. Had I said that at any point of my journey, I wouldn't be here. And so I think of those things when I get afraid, because it gives me the courage to say yes again. So your knowledge is knowledge that somebody doesn't have. Share it, give, and it will come back to you. Number 4, and I will say this, I think of all the ones, even though I could wax eloquent on all of them and probably did, this is probably the key here, because again, it's something you can do today. Look for opportunities to collaborate. Don't sit on your doofus. I don't think that's your duff. That's what I meant. Don't sit on your duff. You need to actually engage and look for collaborative opportunities. If you don't know where to start with this group. You have a ready-made group of people who might be writing on the same subject, who might be in the same location, who might be a part of the same, maybe even publication. If you're a part of one of our compilations, find ways to start right now, today. Look for opportunities, because you're not going to be able to just sit there and it just kind of comes to you. You have to be intentional about going out. Another thing I would say to you, as far as how to do this practically, find a local writing group. If there isn't a local writing group, start one, because it may start small, but there's writers there. I guarantee you there's at least one other writer in the physical location you are in. So research writers groups, become a part of those. As I said, you can be part of compilations. It doesn't have to be one certain type of compilation. You can get creative. Maureen Miller, who is one of our authors, she's getting ready to publish her fiction book, Gideon's Book, is a phenomenal collaborator. She is part of almost every compilation that I see roll through social media. So look for the people who are really good at collaborative writing, and then ask them, what do you do? Where do I go? How do I get involved? And finding places and compilations that align with your message, that align with your marketing strategy for your book, even better. Those are the ones to really seek out. The other thing you can do is if you have somebody that your message, your target audience is similar, create a co-marketing campaign. Who says that you have to create your marketing campaign all by your lonesome? Find somebody to join with and work through those creative ideas together. You may not have to do everything by yourself, but you have a buddy that is in there for the home stretch. And as I said before, sometimes that's all we need, is that voice of encouragement to say, keep going, keep doing, keep moving, keep remembering why you are writing a book, who it is for, and what God can do when we tell the stories he is writing through us. Another thing I would say too that you can do and start to plan for is host joint launch events, book signings, any type of activity, physical activity, or even online activity that you would do by yourself. If it makes sense, invite people to come along. Again, it gives you exposure not only to your own reading audience, your own platform, but it also immediately connects you to the other person's platform. Keep that in mind. Like I said, this way to move forward is probably the most important one. Oh, but wait. Actually, maybe this last one is really the most important one. Value relationships over rivalries. That's kind of difficult to say, but it's so true. I know for me, my whole entire writing journey has been one where I feel like when I know I need to go back to my heart and say, where are you at, Sarah? It's because I'm prioritizing the competition piece. And I'm saying that's more important. The number of followers I have, the amount of sales that I've made, the number of people that stopped by my table or spoke to me or attended my signing event. Our journey as a writer, as a speaker, as a marketer, as somebody who is held by the God of the universe, is meant to be one where we see one another. And nowhere is this more beautifully displayed than in the life of Jesus himself. He never looked at the to-do list without saying, no, wait, there's somebody that needs my presence. That is the true beauty of collaboration. Like I said before, we can't be so bent on the goal, on the plans, on the timeline, on all the podcast interviews that we have scheduled. If we miss the people, we miss the point. So, as we all go about our day today, I want to pray a special blessing over all of us as we move forward in this spirit of collaboration, so that when we get home to Jesus, he says, well done. Because I have a feeling that the things we think are well done's pale in comparison to what eternity calls well done. Father God, I just thank you for all who have watched today. I thank you for the messages that you have given them. I thank you for their heart to learn how to serve you well, how to write well, how to market well, how to speak the message that you have uniquely given them into the hearts of others. We thank you for that privilege, And we pray that we are worthy of it today, tomorrow, and always. In Jesus' name, amen. Now, before I sign off, let me see if there are any comments, any questions. I probably should have done that before I prayed. But, oh, hello, Anne. Hello, Dell. Hello, Colleen. Hello, Liz. Oh, thank you so much, sweet Anne. That means the world coming from you. Well, I know you probably wouldn't have had many questions, especially since I sort of forgot my main points at times. But I hope that that was an encouragement to you. And just know we're all there, right there with you, chasing Jesus and praying that we honor him well. So have a beautiful day, and I will see you the next time.